Add to it. The textbook doesn't teach. The textbook is supposed to be a resource. They rely on experiences and knowledge that the teachers and, I put it in bold, the students bring to the class. The students are sometimes the best resource for educating. And finally, to reconstruct means to rebuild the curriculum that was previously taken apart. So you take it apart and rebuild it and package it in a way that is meaningful for the students. That's what a culturally relevant teacher would do. When we think about instruction, the culturally relevant teachers, they know that no curriculum can teach itself. You can give the best world-class curriculum in the world, but when it all comes down to the rubber meeting the road, it's the person standing there charged with delivering instruction to the teacher, to the students. And we have to understand the difference between curriculum and instruction. Anybody know the difference? We often say curriculum and instruction and we say it together. And sometimes it gets lost, the importance and the difference between the two.
Curriculum is theory, instruction is practice.
She's right. Any non-education majors here? I want to make it very simple then to non-layman terms. Curriculum is the what, instruction is the how. Curriculum is what you're going to deliver. Instruction is how you deliver it. Two totally different things, but they're supportive and connected if they're done properly. The culturally relevant teacher understands that some of the pedagogical strategies that make teaching easier or more convenient for them may be exactly the kind of instruction they should avoid. Ability tracking and grouping is one of them. And then we can also take some of those things that we know are good things to do, cooperative learning. But if they're poorly implemented, they're also ineffective also. And we have a lot of that. And what I'm going to say here is not just a Richmond County issue. But you can walk around classrooms and schools and see people put desks together in a group. And they label it cooperative learning. I kid you not. Oh, the desks are touching, so we got cooperative learning. Poorly implemented, it is ineffective. My personal thoughts. Education is a civil rights issue. Education is a great equalizer for opportunity. Our resources are often poorly provided for education. The Department of Corrections said they will spend anywhere from $42 to $50 a day for prison, for an inmate, which amounts to about $15,000 to $17,000 per year. If you want to put a soldier in a uniform to go fight in Afghanistan or Iraq, a full body armor, weapon, knee pads, the whole thing. Washington Post said it came out to $17,500 to send somebody over somewhere else where they hope they're able to come back. They also said the average household of 4, it cost them $20,000 this year to fund the war. Now some of you say, well, I don't feel like I lost $20,000. Remember that deficit they keep talking about? It's like we keep charging money against something that we don't have. That may be why you didn't see that $20,000 out of your pocket. But guess what? We're going to pay it off at some point. Now anybody know how much we spend an educated student in a year? In 2006, the state recorded us as spending $7,700 per student. Now, we have to adjust that because we're talking about 190 days out of the year, but even if I adjust it and did 365, and true, we do spend money in the summer because we offer summer school, so I can add that in there. But even then, I think that'll still come out to the low end of what it costs to put someone in prison. And I don't think that cost includes Medicare, medical coverage for their prisoners, which we still have to be responsible for. And I think when they build a prison, they listed that it costs about $80-something thousand for the cell cost to just design it initially. Now, how many students can I educate with $80,000? Not to mention what that would do for higher ed, for the number of students who can go to college on that. What's the average cost per student at ASU per year? You know, Karen? How much? $6,500. So, $80,000. Take $28,000 of that, you got a whole 4 years paid for a student, so we almost can put 3 students through school. Something's wrong with the picture when it comes to the resources, doesn't it? And I would say to you that education matters, and that we have to start thinking about where we put the resources. Education has value beyond just the monetary cost that we can quantify. Every time someone has a purse that's stolen, or the stores write off loss from theft, some of that is because someone wasn't educated. Anytime a business chooses not to come to Richmond County, it may be tied to the perception of the quality of education. And they feel they will be able to attract employees to come work for them. Now, Martin Luther King, in his junior year at Morehouse, at some point in his junior year, they don't know the exact date, wrote an essay about the purpose of education. And this is just an excerpt, so it was actually longer than this. But I thought this captured it probably most. Education should equip us with the power to think effectively and objectively. To think is one of the hardest things in the world, and to think objectively is still harder. Yet this is the job of education. Education should cause us to rise beyond the horizon of legions of half, truth, prejudice, and propaganda. Education should enable us to weigh and consider, to discern the true from the false, the relevant from the irrelevant, and the real from the unreal. The first function of education, therefore, is to teach man to think intensively. But this is not the whole of education. If education stops here, it can be the most dangerous force in society. Some of the greatest criminals in society have been men who possess the power of concentration and reason, but they had no morals. Perhaps the most dangerous periods in civilization have been those periods when there was no moral foundation in society. Now, the short version of that is outlining the significance of education, but even by itself, without some character and morals involved, is problematic. But if you look at this, think about what he's talking about, the ability to think, to make decisions. And if you take it back to the beginning of time, when you talk about even minority populations, what were minority populations deprived of early on? Books, the ability to read, the ability to educate yourself. It's the way to maintain control. That's why education is a great equalizer. It affords everybody a better chance. And I say better because I'll never say equal, because as long as there are people making decisions, we can't control what is equal. But a better chance of having the same opportunity in life. And I want to say better also because you hear the story that used to go all around when kids were growing up. You can grow up and be the president one day. Anybody can be the president. How many people believe that? Come on! You don't believe that? You remember that now? Because it still isn't equal. But you will have a better chance if you're educated. I don't think we're ever going to put someone in the White House who's not educated. But you're right. Because we know money becomes a factor now. It's almost like a popularity contest to a certain extent. But you can't even be considered for it if you're not educated. That's why it's important that we make an investment in education, both at the secondary level and both in higher ed. It is one of the pillars of society that will improve the quality of life for everybody in Richmond County. The better Richmond County Schools performs, I will promise you the better the CSRA will do. Being the largest school district in the region, being the 4th largest employer in the region, we have the capacity to help make or break the quality of life.